Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good evening to all of you. My name is ZULHIZAM bin Sulaiman with matric number 1190183. I'm from group KBA1, group number 21. Would like to present to you a case study titled Fake or Misleading News Stories About Muslims. Firstly, I will explain about the adjective of case study. The first adjective is to identify the idea or theory of the inaccurate and misleading news stories about Muslims, to explain from the Islamic perspective the way to convey news or stories, and last one, to analyze the effect of inaccurate or misleading news stories about Muslims. Okay, next we move to the content of case study, which will be explained by the other group members. The first one is the idea or theory of misleading news about Muslims. Next is factor that leads to fake or misleading news about Muslims. Thirdly, Islamic guides on how to spread news. The next point is the effects of fake or misleading news about Muslims.
My name is NASSRUDDin, matric number 1190185. In this video, I want to talk about the theory or idea of misleading news stories based on the Muslim perspective. Connecting religion or faith with today's media technology is becoming more common, especially in humanity or practical judgment towards certain issues. According to Hope and John 2014, there are several factors known to become an influence in people's perception of new technologies, which among them also include proximity and familiarity with the technology, attitudes, beliefs, and values. Human rights, on the opposite hand, has become a weapon for these irresponsible parties in spreading false stories. Misleading news is a term that has come to mean different things to different people. At IQBAL, we are defining misleading news as those news stories that are false. The story itself is fabricated with no variable fact, sources, or quotes. Sometimes these stories may be propaganda that is intentionally designed to mislead the reader, or may be designed as clickbait written for economic incentive. The writer profits on the number of people who click on the story. In recent years, misleading news stories have proliferated via social media in part because they are so easy and quickly shared online. This happens not only in Muslim minority countries, but within the Muslim majorities too. Many during a position of authority often cite a note of critics on possible divergences between the Islamic tradition and therefore the human rights. This calls for a rather insidious purpose. That's all for me. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is MOHAMAD AIMAN bin ISMAIL. My matric number 1190219. Alright. Fact. Moreover, human rights also are being internationally debated throughout the planet. Rights, law, and history are known today to Muslim intellectuals and policymakers. This actually has prevented people from understanding the right meaning and concept of human rights from the Islamic worldview. Now we are going to factors of the misleading news stories about Muslims. The first factor is conformity and peer influence. It is the necessity of a private to match his or her behavior to a selected group. The will that social media users need to enhance themselves on social media platforms could blur the lines between real information and false information. Consequently, social media users will share information to realize social media approval and to create their image. The real power lies with those certain individuals who are more vocal or influential. The necessity for social media users to endorse information or a message are often driven by the perception the social media users has about messenger. These messenger or influencers are often anyone starting from celebrities to companies. And then the second factor is political clickbait. During a recent study, it had been found that 43%, 13 of 30 false news stories were shared on social media platforms like Twitter with links to non-credible news websites. For an example, Trump was again criticized for promoting anti-Muslim sentiments and for being a social media troll who spread false information as he was promoting Islamophobia to understand his supporters' trust during the election of President of America. And the third factor is hate propaganda. Then this false information is specifically designed to deceive and manipulate social media users. Fake news stories like this intend to mislead the public and generate false beliefs. For instance, much of this indignation began with criticism of the Tabligh Jama'ah, a multinational Muslim missionary group which held a sermon in New Delhi after the city government had prohibited gatherings and has emerged as a COVID-19 cluster. The goal of hoax is to manipulate the opinion of the public and to maximize public attention. That's all. Thank you.
My name is IQBAL SHAFIQ IBRAHIM. My metric number is 1190215. I would like to talk about Islamic guides on how to spread news. Spread of fake news today seem to have no control. In dealing with this problem, Islam has laid down guidelines in spreading news. Among the concepts that have been taught by Islam is curbing this problem is tabayyun. Tabayyun is word derived from Arabic which means to establish and check the basis of is it true. News or any information released should be scrutinized and verified in advance its accuracy of information to prevent any agenda or bad things from happening, such as slander, cheating, and harming another person based on lust and the nature of hatred. The comment to tabayyun is very important so that we can avoid prejudice. The manners of conveying news, there is three types. The first is a person is held accountable for his every word and speech. Fact check before spread news. The second is whenever someone conveys news, one should be careful. And the third, understanding their words without any addition story of the news. For example, when we receive any information or news and we confirm that the news is true, to spread it, we should not add or subtract any information on it, because maybe the reader cannot understand as we understand, so it can be misunderstood.
Okay, my name is Riduan Nurdin, metric holder 1190168. Okay, so now we go to the effect of inaccurate or misleading news towards Muslims. Okay, the first effect is bullying and violence against innocent people. False rumors that target particular people can have serious repercussions. On social media, these people can be abused and treated by insults and threats that can have real-life consequences. To decide if a person is guilty, you must never rely solely on non-validated information circulated on social media. Depression and anxiety, heightened feelings of depression and isolation, shift in sleep and eating habits, and lack of interest in things they used to enjoy are more likely to be experienced by people who are bullied. This issue may be persist into their adulthood. Okay, the second effect is affect public welfare. The act of spreading fake news will cause the population to fear, so that it can threaten the country's stability, with the purpose of misleading, exploiting, and inflaming the emotion of the people. The fake news is spread. With this, a person or his organization's false belief emerge. People will then point fingers at each other. For example, the recent act by some social media users who spread rumors that new patients infected by the COVID-19 virus are no longer recognized by the hospital and there are victims who die because of COVID-19 is a very irresponsible action. Not only can these acts affect public order, they can also have a detrimental effect on victims, families, and the surrounding community. The third effect is affect human behavior. Social media discussion can have a real-world effect on human behavior, and these changes in behavior can lead to serious health issues. This poses serious concerns that are at the forefront of the current debate because social media users regarding their personal responsibility for the online production and distribution of content. Social media companies, to the degree that they are simply forums for the content of users, or whether they instead contribute to the impact of that content by facilitating the dissemination of misinformation. Okay, the fourth effect is highlighting the bad role of social media. The act of distributing fake news is unlawful and sin may be endured by those who do so. The truth is, dissemination of false news in society generates an unhealthy environment. Currently, it also has numerous adverse effects on the country's political, economic, social, and cultural situation. Do not let your reckless attitude ruin and kill society and the country. Ijma ulama say the act of spreading false news is haram based on the evidence in the Quran, which means, and do not you revolve around your true stand on, and do not according to the wishes of the person who always swears against the humble his opinion and practice. Move the conversation because to harm people, those who like to curse, others who like to spread slander of sedition to divide the people. Surah Al-Kalam verses 10 until 11. Last but not least, the last effect we've been listed is Islamophobia. Misinformation about Muslims, including refugees, immigrants, and regular people, has been used to construct harmful narrative, intensify current Islamophobia, and agreeably create a fertile atmosphere for profound social and political change to take place. Although the role of Islamophobia in the media has been extensively studied, less research has been done on social media, especially to the role of images in social media. When taken out of the context or attached to completely false news, these images are particularly susceptible to the manipulation. They can be used to promulgate certain political agendas, heighten division in society, and cause actual harm to vulnerable groups. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is AMIRUL bin Muhammad Isa, matric number 1190192. I will make a conclusion. Firstly, in a nutshell, misleading or fake news is more similar lies that affect one's perception towards something or some people, or from a legal perspective, can be claimed as a type of violation. From the Islamic perspective, starting from a full endorsement of the established order and subordinating Islam with its Sharia, will lead into a negotiation in considering true or fake information that a person gets. Number 2, One may be wiser in relating their own tradition and confidence in valuing or judging news they get from any source or medium by living a wasatiyah or moderate life in the present modern world. This concept proposes Muslims to bring people together and at the same time respecting their difference as it consists of respectable, good, livable, useful, reliable, trustworthy, and friendly ummah to humanity as the good predecessors used to be during their time of self-sufficiency and cultural security. The concept is directly in contrast with the element defining misleading news as mentioned earlier. Okay, thank you.